Hammer Films wanted this to be the beginning of their next big horror franchise. Sadly, it's a forgotten one and done. Welcome to Creepin' It Real. Thanks for joining me. I'm Judah. We're talking about Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter from 1974. I'm not really a big vampire fan. I mean, they're not stories I naturally gravitate towards, though there are some really good movies out there. I do enjoy the atmosphere of Hammer vampire movies, but they can get a little formulaic, especially the Dracula films. Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter is a Hammer production and absolutely has that classic Hammer feel I enjoy. Unfortunately, it didn't do well at the box office. Hammer originally planned to follow Captain Kronos on many more adventures, but the movie failed to make much of an impact, and those plans fell flat. Honestly, that bums me out a bit because I actually enjoyed this one. It takes a different approach than most Hammer vampire movies. The idea that there are different types of vampires is nothing new to modern horror fans. Shows like What We Do in the Shadows have a lot of fun with that concept, and other properties like Twilight, much to the cringe of many of us horror fans, have their own take as well. I'm not sure exactly when the idea of different vampire types really started to take hold, but it was interesting to see a movie from the 70s trying to breathe new life into this monster by creating its own mythology. The film doesn't throw away the classic vampire lore we all know. Instead, it adds new ideas that fit surprisingly well within this Hammer Gothic setting. As you probably guessed from the title, Captain Kronos is a vampire hunter, and he has a sidekick, Ghost, a very knowledgeable man with a rather large hump on his back. While traveling, they discover a woman chained up in shackles. After learning her crime was dancing on the Sabbath, and who's not guilty of that, Kronos sets her free. This is where we get Caroline Munro, who serves as eye candy for the rest of the movie. One of my favorite new pieces of mythology comes from a nursery rhyme within this world, where according to this nursery rhyme, if you bury a dead frog and a vampire walks over it, the frog will come back to life. They use this to narrow down who the vampire might actually be. The funny part is, Gross, the sidekick, seems to have an endless supply of dead frogs hidden in his hat. It's like watching Bullwinkle constantly try to pull a rabbit out of his hat. No doubt about it, that man needs a new hat. This particular vampire also doesn't feed on blood. Instead, it drains people of their youthful life, which gives this movie a slightly different flavor than your typical vampire story. Kronos himself isn't just a vampire hunter. He's also an accomplished swordsman. There are several sword fights throughout this movie. Most of them make me chuckle, but they were a lot of fun to watch. In one scene, Kronos takes on 3 thugs in a tavern, and honestly, it's less of a sword fight and more of a demonstration of what a badass Kronos actually is. Now here, while in the tavern, the barkeep is actually a Star Wars alumni. It is John Hollis who plays Lobot from The Empire Strikes Back. Now after this, Kronos faces an angry mob of villagers. At this time, he draws 2 swords like Zorro from One Piece. He doesn't seem interested in killing anybody, but he's definitely sending home everybody with a scar they're not going to soon forget. Overall, I enjoyed Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter. I wouldn't call it a must-watch, but I do wish it had made a bigger impact because I would have liked to seen more of these adventures with these characters. Unfortunately, it also suffered from what a lot of gothic horror films do. Long stretches where pacing slows to a crawl. While I appreciate the fresh vampire mythology and I enjoyed spending time with these characters, the slow pace really knocked some points off for this movie. When it comes down to it, I give Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter a 5 out of 10. Now, I want to know from you people out there who are fans of Hammer films, what is your favorite vampire story that Hammer shared with us? Please leave those in the comments. I'd love to hear them. If you made it this far, you're a champion. You get a gold star. Please like, subscribe, and share. And just so you know, I am on Instagram and X. You can find those links in our bio. This has been Creepin' It Real. I'm Judah. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.